Let's move to another game that I'll be honest, I really don't think that we know very much about either team. Penn State at Auburn. So Penn State is a 3-point favorite on the road, which is very interesting to me. The over under, another one that is minuscule, it is 48. It was as low as 47, back up to 48. I don't think that anybody thinks that means there's going to be a bonanza of scoring, but I do think what it means is that we are going to see a low scoring game in the 20s like last year when Penn State beat Auburn 28-20 at home. In terms of these two teams, like I said, I don't think we know much about either one. And I certainly don't think we know much about Auburn. They have played two games. One was against Mercer, excuse me. One was against San Jose State. And let's call a spade a spade. They did not look good against San Jose State last week. Final score 24-16, 378 yards of total offense. They did run the ball effectively, though. And what I would say about Texas, or about Auburn, excuse me, is that when I look at this team, it is pretty clear how Brian Harsin wants to play. Now, I think he wanted to play this same way last year, and I think he was early in the year before things kind of got away from him. But it's clear that he kind of brings that Northwest, tough, Boise, cold weather mentality to the Plains. They want to run the ball. They want to stop you from running the ball. And on offense, they have been at least very effective in running the ball and doing that. Something that caught my eye, they have nearly twice as many rush attempts as they do pass attempts. 79 rush attempts through two games, 44 pass attempts through two games. I think it's for two reasons. One, you're playing San Jose State and Mercer. You don't want to put too much on tape. Two, you also have TJ Finley at quarterback. And listen, this isn't a criticism of TJ Finley, but I said it in the SEC West preview a few weeks ago. He is who he is at this point, right? We like there are certain quarterbacks, and we're going to talk about one of them in a minute, in Sean Clifford. You kind of just know who they are at this point. TJ Finley, remember, he was a transfer last year from LSU, lost the starting job at LSU to Max Johnson, who now ironically is at Texas A&M, but 57% in 2020 at LSU. Last year, 55%, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception a season ago. This year, not pretty. 65%, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Again, against San Jose State and Mercer. He's obviously going to have to play his best game for Auburn to win. You know who's got to step it up too? It's Sean Clifford, man. I'm just going to tell you, I've said it. If you follow me on Twitter, I am pretty much over Sean Clifford at this point. He is a fourth-year starter. Sean Clifford is. If you look at his years, statistically, you could probably argue that his best season was as a freshman, a redshirt freshman in 2019. So we're talking about the year before COVID. So we have this year, last year, which was post-COVID, and then the year before that was COVID, and then the year before that was when Sean Clifford was at his best, 2,600 yards, 23 touchdowns. Last year, he did throw for 3,100 yards, but remember, he was injured. He was in and out of the lineup, all that good stuff. But 61% completion last year, 61% completion this year. I know that he rallied, helped them beat Purdue a few weeks ago, but we all watched that game. He was awful for most of that game. A pick six, he has a pick six thrown. He does rally them, but I just bring it up to say if it isn't for, Jeff Brom's play calling, they don't win that game, and I am not going to put too much on that one single game. As a matter of fact, I think what's especially interesting about Penn State, I think at this point, it seems pretty clear to me that Drew Allar, their backup quarterback, 5-star kid, many believe him, Cade Klubnik, there's a few others. Many believe that Drew Aller, however you pronounce his name, was actually the best quarterback in high school football last year. Very limited snaps, but he has completed 67% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. 1, I do think we probably see him. 2, I wonder how much longer James Franklin can actually wait to play this guy. He is clearly the better guy. I understand, 1, James Franklin not wanting to put a young quarterback in the crossfire in an SEC stadium. I also understand this is big boy college football and you got to win games. So I do wonder if Penn State is potentially waiting for a home stretch, waiting for a little bit of an easier break in their schedule to get this guy more snaps. But I do think that we probably see him. And then let's also give credit to another freshman, Noah Singleton, 5-star kid. He had some absurd amount of rushing yardage in high school. Well, he hasn't missed a beat since he got to college. He's averaging 10.5 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns in 2 games. Mitchell Tinsley, the transfer from Western Kentucky, has looked really good as well. But again, For Penn State, I think it does come down to the run game and really more specifically stopping the run. And I think that's where it gets interesting because Auburn, to its credit, like I said early on, they have run the ball very well. They've also been very effective stopping the run. Now, for the 100th time, they've played Mercer and San Jose State. I get it. But 26th in the country in rush defense allowed. And I do think that's the key to this game, right? Both teams want to run the ball. Both teams don't want to put too much on their quarterbacks' plates. Both teams know if they do put too much on their quarterbacks' plates, they are probably going to lose. The other thing I would say, last thing that really stands out to me about this game, then we'll talk about Nebraska, Oklahoma, get to a quick break, is when I look at this game, one thing does stand out to me. I mentioned a minute ago, Miami, Texas A&M reminds me a little bit of my Texas A&M and Alabama last year. The other thing that stands out, these two teams did play last year in Happy Valley, huge night game. It was a whiteout game, and Penn State did win that game. But if you remember, Auburn had a drive late. Were driving, stopped like a yard or two short of potentially having what could have been the game-tying score. And so that was last year at Penn State with Bo Nix at quarterback. I only bring it up to say this game is in Auburn. It's not often. I'll just say this. You pick who you want to pick. My official Betfred Sportsbook pick is Auburn -3. You bet who you want to pick. What I will just tell you, I learned my mistake betting against SEC home underdogs 2 weeks ago with Florida and Utah. I do like Auburn. I don't trust Sean Clifford in a big situation on the road against a good defense like Auburn. And I do think they will have success running the ball. Give me Auburn, close, low-scoring game, plus the points.